my cult. We wear a simple weave in my cult. There's nothing to believe in my cult. Our clothes do not have sleeves. You may think that we're naive, but there's a lot of joie de vivre in my cult. And we all tell little lies in my cult. We wear a similar disguise in my cult. And no one ever dies.
The most important thing to note about Cult of the Lamb is that it is a world of shit. Literally. Shitterally. This is a game in which you amass a zealous group of loyal but cute adherents to an eldritch entity who will devote themselves to your worship while also shitting everywhere. And it's a good thing they do too, because this game runs on shit. You can cook meals that make your followers shit themselves. You can clear up the shit yourself and carry around hundreds upon hundreds of balls of shit. You can appoint janitors to clear up the shit for you, and build outhouses to collect huge amounts of shit. Thus armed with that shit, you can use the shit to make your crops grow faster and build shit silos to fill with shit so that your followers can collect huge amounts of shit and pour shit on the food that you're gonna put in your mouth that will make you do more shit. Oh, and sometimes a follower will ask to eat shit. You can actually make a bowl of poo. Shit bowl. They'll eat it. And sometimes they ask you to make someone else eat shit. It's a world of shit. Also, it's quite a fun blend of roguelike action and daily life simulation. Cult of the Lamb can be split roughly equally between two types of play. You have the simulation aspect, where you cultivate your cult. And then you have that aforementioned roguelite action experience, very reminiscent of The Binding of Isaac, where you travel from room to room, taking care of masses of enemies, in somewhat randomized runs, where you gain power via cards, and grab as many resources as you can to take home. Resources are vital to the success of your cult. You need to grab wood and stone, which can be used to create a variety of buildings, and of course, as the game progresses, you need ever more harder to find materials to get better stuff, and most crucially of all, you're gonna need followers. Followers are found scattered throughout runs, gameplay runs I mean, not the runs that come out of everyone's asses because it's a world of shit, and you'll find them either cowering alone and scared, or about to be sacrificed by the followers of the game's principal antagonists, the exquisitely gruesome bishops. Once indoctrinated, your followers can be set to a variety of tasks such as worship, cleaning up all of the shit, farming, mining, and cleaning up all of the shit. Your followers must be kept loyal once indoctrinated, otherwise they'll start to dissent or die or leave. At the most basic level, you have to make sure that you've built enough beds for them to sleep in, and that you've cooked enough food for them using ingredients that you've either farmed or gathered during runs. While the creation and maintenance of buildings is as straightforward as choosing where you want to plonk it, and then holding down a button, or letting the followers build it for you. Once you've got your church set up, you can preach sermons once a day, as well as utilize the bones of your fallen enemies to create a number of rituals that'll be unlocked during the course of play. Such rituals include weddings, you can marry a follower to increase loyalty, or a feast, which will have the added bonus of filling up everyone's stomachs. There are some darker rituals on hand as well, most notably sacrificing one of your followers to abyssal Lovecraftian horrors in order to gain more direct power. The simulation aspect is a mixed bag. On the one hand, it's very satisfying to build up a village of cultists, and once you've built up your cult enough for it to achieve a level of relative autonomy, it's quite satisfying indeed to watch it do its thing, gathering resources for you that you can run around and collect. It does, however, take quite some time to reach that autonomy, and until then, you'll be doing a lot of repetitive busy work. In fact, even once your cultists can do a lot more for themselves, you'll still be expected to pitch in and perpetually perform tedious tasks such as cooking. At times it can feel like a lot to keep on top of, which is compounded by the fact that there's not much variety once you get the daily grind underway. However, Cult of the Lamb's simulation aspects nonetheless keep up quite a gratifying gameplay loop. Even with the tedious aspects, it's still fun to watch your cult grow, and it always feels rewarding to run around the village, emptying chests that have been filled with resources in your absence. This is one of those curiously insidious games where even at my most bored, I was still gripped by a compulsion to keep playing. Of course, this is just one half of the equation. The other half is a lot more action-oriented, and while it too suffers from repetitiveness at times, the generally satisfying hack-and-slash gameplay is certainly enjoyable enough to keep one invested. If you've played The Binding of Isaac or any number of games inspired by it, you're not going to be in for many mechanical surprises here. At the beginning of each run, you will be randomly given a weapon from various subtypes, including daggers, swords, claws, and the awful fucking hammers that I hate, they're rubbish, as well as one curse, basically a magic spell. Curses can include powerful melee attacks, area of effect explosions, or more unique abilities such as creating a split in the ground that will call forth ghosts that attack enemies automatically for you. Curses are charged with fervor, which you gain after killing enemies, and during the course of runs you may very well get the opportunity to swap out your starting gear. Each run is split into a series of maps that lead their way to a boss. The most straightforward of these maps is of course a combat zone, where you will travel from room to room taking out enemies, while acquiring cards that give you various upgrades such as poison damage or extra health. Along the way, you'll find other encounters, which consist of one-screen maps that boast either a shop, or a follower rescue, or an area full of resources. Very simple, very straightforward, very familiar to roguelite fans, and all pretty fun. The combat is mostly hack-and-slash action. Enemies have fairly well telegraphed attacks, flashing white and taking a little bit of a wind-up before striking. That said, it's not always easy to keep track of what's happening on screen. There are quite a few enemies in any given encounter, a number of them having some really annoying attacks, particularly the bats that are really good at flying out of range and then diving right back at you. The game's otherwise excellent art style can be a hindrance as well. While everything is exquisitely animated and boasts vibrant colours with thick outlines that I often appreciate in an art style, this does at times have a tendency to create areas where enemies and backgrounds blend together in a manner that's hard to differentiate between the two. Some enemies seem to know this as well, especially the little cultists that hide out in long grass. And while that adds a level of challenge, it also creates a number of frustrating circumstances where you're trying to suss out exactly what the hell's going on while dodging any number of projectiles and attacks. On occasion, I find the whole thing a little visually overwhelming. Boss encounters are really cool, however, many of them adopting the appearance and tactics of some of the game's more regular minions, and on harder runs, provide experiences more akin to a straight-up bullet hell. Overall, I do enjoy the combat in Cult of the Lamb. The curses are fun to play around with, attacks feel really impactful when you land them, and while you can't become as overpowered as you can in a game like The Binding of Isaac, with the right combination of cards and weaponry, you can feel quite suitably untouchable. Though if I had one other complaint about the combat, it would be that sometimes I find it hard to land a hit, like to actually aim a melee attack, as the enemies move around quite erratically and it's sometimes hard to tell exactly what direction you're gonna hit in. I've had a lot of fun with Cult of the Lamb. I've put about 20 hours in it so far. One thing I found interesting was the fact I more or less maxed out the cult side, the simulation side of the gameplay, before I was anywhere close to done with the action side. Depending on how you personally balance the ratio of these two elements, you could have a similar experience or indeed the opposite. It's left me feeling like I've got very little left to accomplish, while also technically only being halfway done with the story. And yet, to Cult of the Lamb's credit, I still keep playing. Because while I do have a laundry list of nitpicks to share with you, overall this game has been a delightful waste of my time. And I just love the concept as well, along with that previously praised art style, and an overall amusing blend of the adorable and the eldritch. I think there's something for you to enjoy if you really love simulations, if you really love roguelites, or if you really like Feces. If you love all three, then I think you'll very much enjoy Cult of the Lamb. They're shit in it.
We wear the holy socks. We don't believe in clocks. Bill Mummy often mocks my cult. Along with Ronnie Cox and other sci-fi actors turned musicians.